Okay. Had to do that once. We'll call this public input session of the Home Rule Charter Review Commission to order. We don't really need to do roll call, but I'll just do a couple of introductions. We all know who's here. We've got a brief presentation about what we have discussed, what we are ready to propose to the council. We will take some of you will take your comments. The agenda is structured that, yes, the commission can answer your questions, can interact with people coming to the podium. I know you may be used to public comments at the council meeting, and that's a different category where the council doesn't interact with those providing public comment. In this scenario, we will be able to do that. And real quickly, I don't think our commission will mind. Some of you may know everybody sitting up here. Some of you may not. I can go around if you want to introduce yourself, or I can introduce everybody. So the audience, why don't you introduce yourself, and that way people who don't know all of us sitting up here at least will know who they're talking to. So John.
I'm John Eisenman.
Don Hanson, Alderman.
Bill Mashevitz, UCA.
Kenyon Clark.
Dave Vickers.
Ryan Veenstra.
Matt Brish.
Joe Hoinkus.
Rich Phelan.
Aaron George.
So if you have any questions later, let us run through this brief presentation. Joe and Rich are going to be in charge of this part. So I guess at this point, we'll turn it over to
Mr.
you
Chair,
guys.
just a couple, one thing.
Rich?
It just went right out. Oh, Sean's not here. This is
Oh,
taking-
Sean Connell, that's right. Sean Connell, another member, is not here. He should be here shortly.
Who's taking minutes?
I
Okay,
can.
thanks, Ryan. And then we're going to keep questions till the end of the
Questions
presentation.
until the end. Let these guys run through their brief presentation, and then we'll take questions, comments at
Input.
the end, and input.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to go there. You got a screen here.
Sean Connell is our missing member, so he's here now.
Dave, so for some reason, it's not showing up on here. The same.
Stephen, can you get the slideshow so the people can see it over here?
It's got on the other three screens, but it's not on this one.
Okay.
We can get by. I think everybody can see it. You may have to turn around.
Yeah, if you need to, it's on the screen in the back and the screen over there.
It's on the TV as well.
Oh, on that one too, yeah.
Yeah, sure, there's no TV.
Oh, that's why.
Thank you.
Yep. There.
Wow. Okay.
That's why that was in the corner. There you go.
That's why he got invited.
Yeah. That's why we have tech people. Joe, Rich?
Okay, well, we'll get started. We don't have but a few slides. I'm really glad we got some people here to talk to. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So a little bit of background on the Home Rule Charter. It was established back in 1987. It's one of 8 forms of municipal government under Iowa Constitution, and there are 5 other municipalities in the state that have home rule charters. They're shown here: Clinton and Cedar Rapids, Marion, Fort Dodge, and Iowa City. The charter is supposed to be reviewed at least every 10 years. We've been a little bit delinquent in doing that, but here we are. Surprisingly enough, we haven't had, I mean, we've got some changes, but not a whole lot for the number of years we're talking about. So the commission is made up of the guys you just got introduced to. We all applied along with a number of other people. There was a appointments advisory committee that was involved in the review of who was going to be on the committee. Was nominated by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. We were formed up in March, and we're supposed to be in place for about a year. So February of '26 is when we would cease and desist. Fortunately, we've been able to get the work done before then. You've already been introduced to the members, so I won't go through that. The purpose really is to update and ensure the charter is current and accurate, improve voter involvement and access, improve effectiveness and efficiency of the city government, and improve city communication and accountability to voters. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of changes, so that speaks well for the initial document. I think it was a really well put together. The review process that we used, we reviewed the other four cities that have home rule charters. We've discussed it, strengths and opportunities at length. Reviewed other forms of government currently in use in Iowa, like LeClaire and some other places. Received input from other nearby cities, and we also reviewed options with the Iowa League of Cities. So progress to date, these are the things that we're looking at recommending. To reduce the number of city council seats from 7 to 5. Elect all city council members at large as opposed to wards. Clarify the role of the mayor as the chief executive elected official and the key communication conduit to the city administrator. Reduce the minimum number of qualified electors needed for initiative or petition. So currently it's 25% of the persons who voted in the last election, or 1,500, and the only thing we're changing is from 1,500 down to 1,000. And then add a citizen salary advisory board for elected officials. Okay, so the changes that we're proposing associated with the city council fall into two major categories, right? Reduce the city council seats to 5. So first off, the population has decreased a fair amount since 1970. It's been about 10,000 people that have reduced in the population of the city. Also, when we look at our goals to improve efficiency of the city government, attract more qualified, committed, and diligent candidates. Since 2002, voter turnout has fallen off significantly. And also, there have been, since 2002, 10 unopposed elections for city council. So contested elections are typically higher voter turnout, and that's what we're really looking to do. So this is what made sense to us. And then the second piece was to propose that all city council members be elected at large. This increases the pool of interested qualified candidates. There's very few changes that are faced by the city council that really are confined to one single ward. So we felt that this was a good move to go all at large. Both of these changes require approval of the city council and citizen petition approved by municipal election. So, or excuse me, I can't see that last word there, guys. Can I shrink that? I'm sorry, people. Yeah. I just wanted it so everybody could see. All right. The second was around the mayor's role. So wanted to clarify the role of the mayor a bit more. So establish the mayor as the chief executive elected officer. Establish his role as the key communication conduit to the city administrator. Now, in this, the city council retains full control of the city administrator. That means hire and fire and performance review, that sort of thing. And puts the mayor to provide input to performance review of the city administrator. The purpose of the existing ordinance regarding the administrator performance review is to be strengthened, and that we'd like the HR Charter Commission to make those recommendations. And primarily, the reasons for these, proposing these changes, are to ensure the clarity and accountability, as it can be difficult for the council and for the administrator when the administrator reports to. Currently, it's 7, but 5 council members under our proposal. It makes things a lot cleaner if you're talking with one person as opposed to 7 or 5, right? So that was our thinking in those changes. So the next steps are really actually we already have met with the Iowa League of Cities on the 11th, and then this public review today. And then we'll be looking later, next week, to propose this to the council. So at that, I think that was the last slide. Yeah, if there's any questions, we can take them.
I mentioned, we don't really we didn't put a time limit on that. If you got some questions or comments, we ask you to keep them relatively short, ask you to come to the microphone so everybody can hear. So questions, comments, you're here, the audience, we're looking for your feedback on what you've seen as proposed. There are some other minor tweaks to the charter. What you've seen are the big ones. There are some other minor ones that are insignificant in the overall perspective, but important and for some clarification points.
We can make that document available to everybody too, if we want to.
Yeah.
Beyond this.
Because you give us your name, so we got it for the records.
Travis Winter. I guess the question would be, going from 7 to 5, what does that look like? How would that work?
To
As
get
far
there?
as- To get there, like with the new council coming in November, when would that take place? And
Not to jump, and not to give legal advice, I believe there's a state code that tells how that's done. There would be, at some point, I believe, an election for 5 at-large council members. And then it specifies who gets 4-year terms and who gets 2-year terms to set up the staggered 4-year terms. That's spelled, we didn't delve into that because it's spelled out in state code that the city council would have to follow.
But
Okay.
to your, if I,
Yeah.
to answer your question, it wouldn't impact November because the action of downsizing the council and doing away with rewards actually has to be brought up by citizens petition.
okay,
It can't be done arbitrarily by the council. So from a practical standpoint, that wouldn't even be voted upon, assuming that there was a successful petition turned in, that wouldn't be voted on until November of '26, unless the city decided to call a special election.
okay. So potentially, if somebody got elected this November, in 2 years, they could have to run again
I think
to
theoretically
get to the
that's.
5?
Kinda what Pat was alluding to.
The timing of that is, yes, that could
Okay.
happen.
Okay.
It all depends on the petition and how soon that would be voted on, and if approved, then it would go into effect at the next election. So that could be the case.
Okay.
I think. I mean,
Right?
come Tuesday, and that's a good question to present to the legal counsel about how that exact process works.
And Travis, we were at 9 council members. I don't know the date.
Right.
And that might be something that we might want to add to the, I don't know what the date is, but it's not like we've shrunk.
Right, yeah.
So that's the theory behind it.
Yeah, I understand it.
Really, what was in our scope was to make proposals for change. Implementing of that is really going to be based on how the council deals with it and how we handle it through elections, so.
Right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, there is a piece of the code that tells how to do that. We didn't delve into all of that, but
Right.
it wouldn't be just a happen chance process. There, it's spelled out. And Pat O'Connell could explain that
Right.
much better than any of us.
Perfect. Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Just one last clarification on that is the earliest it could really be implemented is the 27 municipal election. So that's, you're right, 2 years. I mean, and the earliest that it actually take place would be January of '28, so.
Okay,
And that's presuming everybody nods their head and says yes, so.
all right. All right, thank you.
Yeah, Tom Detterman. I just wondered if you guys looked at, I think it's Iowa City has that, where the council elects the mayor amongst themselves. I just wondered if you looked at that and what your reasonings were. I kind of like that, but Did you guys look at that?
I think you have to go back in the first meetings, Tom, because we had, kind of had to pick what path to go on, and we decided at the first meeting to go with the same.
Same way, okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you looked at that.
Yeah, I think it was, even with the 5, would be 5 and the elected mayor.
Yeah.
Had not followed that. There are a few cities, and Iowa City does do that.
Yeah, that way the mayor gets a vote just like a regular councilman, and I think it's every year they elect they can keep electing the same councilman, but it comes up amongst the councilmen every year. And I think Iowa City's the only one that has it, but yeah, I always was intrigued by it.
Yeah, my memory might be off on that, Tom, but I thought when we were discussing that, legal counsel mentioned that would be a complete change in the form of government, and not only, this change would be just a
Yeah.
change in the composition, but that Iowa City would be and
Yeah, I look at that more as like a board of directors with a business, and they elect
Yeah,
a board
it's actually a
chairman.
2-year term that they elect
Okay,
their mayor.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, and Tom, Dave and I were on a conference call with the gentleman, his name's,
Bomber, John.
no, it's the guy in charge of the Iowa City, and
There-
he actually, when, I was thinking we'd have this thing wrapped up this summer, and he's like, no, downshift, it's gonna take a little longer, which rightfully so, but I enjoyed my conversation
Yeah,
with him, and he really gave us some insight, because I think he was on the original Iowa City Charter Review, and then he was on
He was on
the
the-
most recent one.
And he was on the council, and he was the mayor, and he's done the charter review. So he had a pretty good perspective of all of it.
Yeah, and the Cedar Rapids was a disaster with, they had, every councilman was head of a department years ago.
The commission form of government.
Yeah, that was a disaster form of government. But, okay, thanks.
Hi there, my name is Connor Lee. I was just wondering on some more for clarification from moving from wards to at-large. What was the main driving factor of that? I kind of missed on the slide there, if you guys went over it already. Was it just not getting enough people to run?
Let Rich and Joe address that.
I'm going to take that, Connor, and I'll start it at least. Ryan did some really good data, collected some really good data for us, and since 2002, there's been 10 unopposed council elections. Now, some of those were special elections, but the thought here was to be able to draw from a wider pool. We need, as we said in the presentation, really interested, dedicated people to do this job. As Tom can tell you, this is not just show up for the meeting and vote aye and leave. If you do it well, it's a difficult job, and the pay is not great.
No, I agree with that.
And so we were hoping to pull from the citywide, so that if you wanted to run in the first ward and somebody else, a really good candidate, wanted to run in the first ward, you couldn't vote, well, you could vote on, but you're kind of limited. And what I'm saying is if it's all at large, you could both be elected.
Is there any concern with all at-large being grouped in the same area of town and not being able to, just by default, not being present in that side of the city and missing a good majority? I run into a lot of people that don't drive through Ward 1 and didn't know we had a new high school.
Yeah, we did talk about that, and, we came to the conclusion that there's very few issues that the council addresses that are limited to just one ward. I think Rhonda can attest to that. I live in the 4th Ward. Rhonda represents us very well. There's very little that Rhonda's confronted with that's a 4th Ward issue. It's citywide, and that was our thinking.
I agree with that, but then you have a lot, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Shipps.
I brought up a point, I believe, John, and I came up with, what happens if there's 3 guys sitting in their garage talking about how they want to have their little power play? And so I was against it at first, and I changed my vote because of the information that Ryan brought in that we're not getting enough people to run. We're shrinking. We have a lot of people that are transient population, I believe. And I think this would be, in my opinion, a better opportunity for more diligent people to run for office. But yes, that was discussed at length.
Yeah.
I believe one whole meeting was, the power play thing, yeah.
Yeah, that and a lot of citizens don't really know who to call besides their ward person. So a lot of them don't really understand what like at-large is. So they'll reach out to their ward. So I feel like they maybe wouldn't get the opportunity to, or who to go to. And then, or would it be divided, do I have to use this? Or would it be divided up like with a?
It's on YouTube, Connor.
All right. Or would it be each elected at large would be given a zone and they would be this, maybe not called Ward 1 or Ward 2, but they would be in charge of that area?
Our proposal has everyone at large. I know personally, if there's an issue that I have in the city, I have certain people that I call, and usually it defaults to people that I know will look into it and will do the work and are trustworthy and really are dedicated to their job. So I believe, again, just speaking for myself, that we were hoping that we would find 5 individuals that then are that invested in the community that anybody can go to for any reason. Because if you have a ward council member that is not answering, they will call someone that will. I also believe most people don't know what ward they live in until they have to vote, and then they have to look up what ward they are. But the idea was that everybody is represented by every one of those council members, and when a vote happens in this room, it's not affecting just one ward, most likely. It's affecting the whole city. And that was what got me to the point of 5 at large.
Sorry, go ahead.
Another answer to your question is that a lot of the implementation details is going to have to be decided by the council. And it wasn't part of we had a little bit easier part of it is just coming up with some possible changes, but the implementation aspect is going to be thrust upon subsequent councils to decide, okay, we now have a new structure. How is it going to work and how is it going to operate? And that will also require some time and a lot of input from the citizens on how they would like to see it should these changes be implemented.
Okay.
And also, as we mentioned, that change is driven by a petition, driven by a referendum. The citizens will have the final say on what the composition of the council is. No matter what our recommendation is, what we recommend, it will ultimately be decided by people like you who go to the ballot box if that question comes up.
But then that comes back to voter turnout, where we're not really holding a lot on.
And with that, Connor, if you see, I don't have it in front of me, and it's Matt's, how many people voted in, what's the last one I put together?
1,449.
Yeah, so if things got wild and you only need 10%, so in theory, all you need to do, if one ward or one section of town thinks they're not getting represented correctly, you get 150 signatures and you could reverse it. And I think that's just as powerful myself.
How soon is it reversible?
A petition can be filed for a change in the council, composition of the council. Basically, anytime, I think, once there's a vote, then there's a period of time after that vote, whichever side wins, before another petition can be filed. But it can be, I don't know if it's 2 years, 4 years, but there is a timeline, but there's I don't believe there's any definitive
Okay.
number of times it can happen.
Okay.
I don't.
No, that makes sense. My main concern was just more the fact of everybody's human, and sometimes lives get busy, so you kind of forget about certain areas of town. But if you live in one area and you drive by it over and over, you're gonna obviously notice that building needs tore down or that road needs fixed. But if you never have the opportunity to drive through the other side of town, you might miss it quite often unless someone reaches out to you. But I appreciate the time.
Well, Connor, your idea that would present it to the council, if they decide to go, if we as a community decide to go all at large, that the council divide up the city into 5 zones and say, Rhonda, you're in charge of whatever.
That would be
And,
ideal, yes.
It's a good
Okay,
idea.
Yeah.
thank you, guys.
I will say, just as a quick comment to that, the ward system, we felt, 20, 30 years ago, you knew everybody in your ward, right? You knew your neighbors. Now, everybody's kind of scattered. All your friends may be scattered throughout the town. The ward system, not that it was necessarily antiquated, but it was more neighborly, it seemed like. And now, sometimes you don't let your kids go play down the street, or,
Sure, that
they're
makes
not out
sense.
till the street lights are on. So I think it's just a little bit different. It was just a different angle we looked at.
Okay, thank you,
And
guys.
To add to what Sean is saying, that's Iowa League of Cities guy that we interviewed twice, actually, Mickey Shields, told us that many of the cities in Iowa are going to at-large. And what I read into it, and I think Mickey said it, is that they're able to get more candidates to run. So
That makes
we're
sense.
suggesting we give it a try.
Thank you.
Yeah, if we can find 5, 10 individuals to run that truly care about the city and wanting it to do well and succeed and move it in the right direction, it's going to have a huge impact no matter where they live.
Any more comments, questions, input? We saw some people come in way in the back. Any comments, questions? Council members, any comments, questions? You'll get your chance on Tuesday, but anything?
Are online people able to comment? There's nobody online, there you go.
Okay. They could have if they were
Yes.
online. I hadn't, thank you, Aaron, I hadn't looked to see if anybody was. Well, if that's all that, I guess we
Dave, if I
can.
can deviate from the
Yeah.
agenda, I just want to recognize a longtime council person that's with us tonight, Julie Allison. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Julie. Well, if no more comments, questions, I guess we can call that portion of our meeting over. If you want to hang around, we've got a couple of things to discuss before we wrap up business. This will be presented to the council on Tuesday during the committee of the whole session. If you'd like to come watch, if you got other questions. I believe the process, the council's going to have to choose how they want to handle this. Is once we turn it over to them, then since we lose control of that process. But it will be handled either through a vote, they could send it to a public vote, they could adopt some or all or of it by an ordinance amendment process, and they could, I suppose, and we would hope not, but they could put it on the shelf. That's up, if you got some input for them, once it's presented, you've seen some of the things, if you got some input for their ideas and their discussion, the discussion at this point will be among the council. We develop the plan, we develop the proposal, and then the council is the one that will ultimately decide what to do with it. So if you've got a position for or against something that we're proposing, hopefully it's for, the council is where you can focus your lobbying efforts at this point. So that, any
Hey,
questions?
Dave, on Tuesday, can we have copies of our proposed charter with the red lines and everything, so that when people come in, they can physically look at it and get it to the council and the public and,
The council will have the document in their documents from the agenda.
okay.
The citizens, we could make it, yeah, we can, I'll talk to them
Okay.
about having that, printing up some extra copies to have available.
We can just bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Probably good if we have some copies.
Well, and also, I think we need to make it, when you send it to the council, maybe put it somewhere where others can download it, because if, like personally, I like to read through things, think about it, make notes.
Should be part of the packet.
It should,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it'll be. Have you seen the agenda packets for the council
Yeah.
before? Okay. And so, yeah, my goal is to get it to Krista by tomorrow or Friday. And it will go out with all their stuff online.
Okay, what else do we need to do, Dave?
Do we find that one phrase we were talking about?
I haven't yet. I'll look for it and I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Okay, okay. I'll make-
What that is the, there's one phrase in the existing charter that says the mayor is the only or elected official by all the people, and that's, if we do this change, that won't be true anymore, so we need to make that correction.
Not true now.
I gotta find it. We thought we knew where it was, but
Yeah. If that is all, and just for the audience, I had the report. I'll make that one change. I'll get it back out to you tonight, but I did have a signature page that we could all
send
sign.
it down.
We'll
Aaron
send-
can
we'll
sign
send
it first.
Send it down, sign it, and then we'll include that. We'll put it on the spot and then just pass it around. That's our final order of business, and I guess that'll be our approval of
Bring it down,
the,
Matt.
the document, and I'll get that back out to you. And we'll get it in the agenda. If anyone wants to see, if you've seen the Clinton City Council agenda system online, all of what we have for the charter will be part of their committee of the whole agenda for next Tuesday, if you'd like to actually read through what is all the details. I said there's some other minor ones.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're done. Thank you for coming.